What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. This is not a regular episode. This is the Ramblecast. This is, I think, episode 5 of our Ramblecast. Normally, the Ramblecast is a Patreon exclusive show that we do occasionally when we aren't doing watch and react shows, but this one we're going to put out for free so everyone can get a little taste of what goes on in the Patreon world, because there's no new episode of Gotchard this week. So yeah, we're going to be here. We're going to be rambling. I'm your host. My name is Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, it's bullshit that this is like the third or fourth time now where Geets or Gotchard has taken a day off, and yet I'm not allowed to, and I still have to work.
Yeah, I still requested your presence here for the Ramblecast. We talked about it, and I was like, but you know, we still got things to do. You still need to show up to work on recording day. We still gotta put in the time. You know, the patrons still need their bonus content. Toby,
but this isn't even a bonus one then.
That's true. This is replacing the regular content. The unwashed masses need their content, Toby.
Well, so technically we can call this is like canon to the other episodes of like the Gotchard stuff we do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then Josh, I have a story to tell you.
Hang on. I want to point out our Patreon stuff is also canon. I can't help that people don't want to pay $3 to get the full story. Okay, everything's canon.
Well, no. So I was more asking because if there's a continuation of a story I told during Gotchard,
oh
like
yes,
this technically would be on the same feed where people can be like, "Wow, I got the dramatic conclusion," or "Wow, it still goes on," or whatever.
Absolutely. So this is like the first like 15 minutes of a normal episode, but we're just never gonna get to talking about Gotchard. Is what really
it's
what
gonna be
this
an hour now instead.
Yeah. All right, Toby, tell us your story.
So Josh.
Yeah, Toby.
So about a month or so ago now, we started the Graham gun saga.
Oh, I was so hoping that this is what this was about. Yep.
So the short version, 4 or 5 weeks running now, is I took my Graham to the lawyer to get her will updated. The lawyer asked if she had any guns. As a joke, she said, "I sleep on top of one under my mattress."
Let me just pause there for a moment. Is one of the most gangster things that a grandma can say, by the way. Go on.
So I laughed and I was like, I didn't realize this was there. The lawyer laughed. We both said, "Oh, okay, that's good." So my Graham said, "I'm going to tell my son to throw it in the river."
Yep.
Josh and I pontificated for 20 minutes about the legalities of throwing a gun in the river. I was extra excited she said it in front of a lawyer. The next time I went over to my Graham's house after that conversation, the gun was no longer under the mattress. I asked the whole family. I asked my uncle if he knew where the gun went. He said, "I don't know. Ask one of the cousins. They probably took it." I asked all the cousins. They said, "We have no idea where it is either." So at that point, the gun was completely missing, lost. I kind of gave up on the details. I didn't know where else to go with the gun story at that point. Josh, in the past week,
yep.
my brother texted me and was like, "Yo, man, I have one of Dad's guns at my house. It can't be here. I need to get this out of my house." So we went back and forth on it. I don't really want the gun here either, but he seemed like he was in dire straits. I did the good brotherly thing. I said, "Fine, drop it off with me, whatever. Let's do this." So
let's stop there real quick because we got some things I think to point out. I don't want to besmirch your brother, but reaching out to someone and saying, "I have a gun here, it isn't mine, and I can't have it here anymore," is only going to lead to some questions. That's all I'm saying, right? Like the urgency with which you need to not have a gun in your possession anymore is only bad stuff, I feel like. So very excited about the future of the story, but I just wanted to paint a little picture for where I'm at with what I know so far.
Okay, so I thought we'll do 2 pieces of this story. So he says, "I have this gun. I got to get it out of here." I was like, "Okay." I sent you a couple DMs about it. I was like, "This is getting absurd, whatever."
Yeah.
I finally see him over the past weekend. The gun's in my possession.
Okay.
We sneak outside of my Graham and Dad's house to trade wares. So I was talking to him about it, and I was like, he showed me the gun. It's a 357, so it looks like it's like a foot long and giant and massive.
Holy crap! Those are big. Yeah.
I can send you is this is getting videoized, right? As
Yes.
well?
Yeah.
I will send you a picture of it with a hand or banana for scale. I'll try to figure out which one.
All right. I don't know if putting up a picture of a gun is going to get us like, not that we have monetization on anyway, but I don't know. I don't know how
Okay.
YouTube feels about like just
So then
photos of guns.
So then I won't. That's fine. So he gives me that one. We talk about it. He was like, I appreciate you taking it from me. So we're outside talking, and I said, I have a question for you. He said, sure. And I said, do you remember when Graham used to sleep on top of a gun? I was like, it's not there. It kind of sounded like bullshit. And he was like, yeah, that's this gun. And I'm like,
Perfect.
and I'm like, wait, seriously? And he's like, yeah, it was dad's, and it was just under the mattress. And when we took it, we took it to get out of the house because it's not safe for any of them. We just didn't want it there. And I was like, so this is seriously like dad's gun or Graham's gun that was under the mattress. We're 100% sure this is the same gun we've talked about. And he's like, oh yeah, definitely. It's 100% the same gun. So the story has come to a dramatic conclusion of my brother, who was the one person my entire family told me or didn't tell me to ask for clarification on it, was actually the one that had it ever since then.
Had it the whole time. And I love that like you digging into this and asking all these people, didn't ask him, but then he independently reaches out to you about it. Like this is like a movie. Like that's not
we came full circle.
Yeah. I can't believe we actually finally got closure on Grandma's gun. So he had the gun like with him. He'd had it for a long time. Did you ask him why he needed to get rid of it now? Is that information that can be disclosed on a public forum?
So I'll tell you. And if you think we should cut this out, we can.
All right, we'll do discretion. Okay.
So my whole family basically has a sliding scale, some sort of mental issue, like depression or whatever.
Okay.
Anxiety, shit like that. So I guess his OCD is flaring up very bad. And he was talking to his therapist, and he said with the gun in the house, it gives him bad thoughts about what to do with the gun.
Okay, I totally get that.
So then I was like, that's fine. I was like, you could have called me sooner. I'll take it.
So that's actually, this is going to sound insensitive. That's best case scenario for me. like, not that I, wish mental issues on anyone, but the fact that it is, yes, like having the gun in the house is freaking me out and giving me weird thoughts. And like, I totally get that. Like that's like an extreme version of like how I feel around heights, where it's like, I get close to a railing and I just start thinking about how I could fling myself over it. Right. Like,
so it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. So there's an actual scientific name for that.
Okay.
So
it was going to impress me a lot if you could just get that out of
no. So the phrase is the call of the void, but it's a French thing. So it's l'appel de vie.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
So basically what it means is it's the impulse that you have in your brain that when you look over the edge of something that you want to throw yourself off.
Yeah, you just feel compelled to it. Yeah, for sure.
So when he was telling me his story, he was like, it happens to me a lot with the sort of things like this. He's like, I would obviously never do anything, but like the thought's there. So to try to calm him down, I was like, oh, this is an actual thing. Like I knew about it too. And it's the basic gist or concept of it is all the normal thoughts in your brain happen at the same wavelength over and over and over, where nothing that you're thinking about really jumps out like that. But when you hit extremes, the extremes get way louder, and that's the only noise or voice you hear in your head at that moment.
Okay.
So that's why, like, when you look over the cliff and you're like, wow, I could throw myself off and this is crazy. Like your brain hears that louder because it's such an extreme, and that's your body's way of compensating for it and trying to talk yourself out of it by like vocalizing it to yourself of this is crazy. You realize that it's crazy and you don't want to do it as much afterwards.
That's interesting. Yeah. And that makes, I'm no scientist, but that makes perfect sense to me.
When he told me about it, I was like, oh, this is a real thing. Don't worry about it. I was like, I have it with other stuff. I was like, it's cool. I was like, don't worry about the gun stuff.
Yes, because when you were first telling me about it, like my initial, of course, obvious like speculation was like, oh, he's like in trouble with the cops or something. Like,
that was mine too. Like,
yeah.
like I know he's. I mean, I'm gonna call him a kid. He's not. He's basically my age, just a little bit younger. But like, I know he's a good kid. I couldn't imagine him being like, yeah, I caught a couple assault charges. I can't have a handgun in the house anymore. But like, I mean, you never know. Shit happens. We all go.
Caught a case. Now I need to get rid of this piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what people get up to when they're not around you. Everybody's got their own lives.
Yeah.
Everybody's independent. Yeah, and I definitely there's some people in my family we talked about that like I could totally see being like, listen, it's just not cool that I have this gun anymore. It's gonna really exacerbate some issues for me. So you need to get rid of this before the cops come and pick me up.
The craziest thing is like, so it's packed away in the shoebox I was given it in. And
I love that it was just in a shoebox. Was it in
my
a
closet.
shoebox? Was it in a shoebox loose, or was it like packed in like bubble wrap or something?
It's
Like
loose. I saw 2 little shotgun shells in there. There's like 5 or 6 little like switchblades.
and
that was really, I think there's something else in there too. There's a bunch of random shit in there.
it's like all dangerous stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
great.
I put it in the closet at a height where I would assume it's unloaded. I didn't look at it because I don't trust myself to look at it.
Okay.
I don't know, I wouldn't want to accidentally shoot myself, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so it's in the closet at a height where if it goes off, it's no one's body height and it's aimed towards basically outside.
Okay, well this is probably best case scenario. So are you gonna try to get rid of it, or are you just gonna keep it?
Well, so one of my friends wants to buy it off me.
I was gonna say, because it's probably actually worth money if you wanted to sell it for sure.
But then, so my thing was, and the reason I told him no for now, is if it's registered to my dad,
Right. Yeah,
I don't know if my dad needs to sell it. And if I tell my dad I want to sell his gun, he's going to get pissed and realize that somehow I was the one that stole it now. And I don't know if he would sign it over to my friend or not.
Oh,
so I need to look
man.
into, I would just give it to my friend. I would just sell it to him. But my friend is slowly becoming the crazy zombie apocalypse prepper, but
no.
of humans.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know how I feel about giving you the gun in my dad's name if you're becoming apocalypse prepper, because if you do something stupid with this under my dad's name.
Yeah, totally. I mean, guns are, as far as I know, are registered, and yeah, I don't think you'd really want to continue to pass that thing around. You already shouldn't probably have it when it's in your dad's name.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to continue
99% sure that there's something at this point. It's probably illegal that I quote unquote stole a gun out of his home. That's not registered to me. I just have it. But
yeah, and I think you selling it would probably also be another illegality on top of that.
Black market. I'm running my own black market now.
That's great. But I will say, yeah, a shoebox is maybe not a shoebox with its ammunition is probably not ideal. And what I would do if I
think I'm gonna dig a hole in the backyard and bury the bullets.
There you go. I would probably watch a YouTube video for how to unload that particular gun and learn from a safety standpoint, how to open it just to make sure there's no bullets in it. And I would do that. I would make sure that it's not loaded.
Okay.
And then you can buy very cheap gun locks, and I would get a gun lock at least. So if it is stashed up in your closet, you at least have it locked where someone couldn't load it and shoot you with it without having a key.
Well, so I tried to buy a plastic, I'll call it gun safe, but it's not really a safe.
Yeah.
It's like a plastic box. So I looked up the type of gun after my brother told me what it was. I was like, okay, I got this box. The box is 6 inches too small for the gun. So I tried to return it to Amazon. They're like, we'll just give you your money back. We don't want the box back. So I now have a gun box for
That's amazing. I recently, just completely unrelated news, but sending emails and getting refunds. I had 2 subscriptions that I forgot that I had auto renew on the same day, and I had to send the sad email of hey, can I just get this canceled? I totally forgot it was happening, because it was almost $150 worth of crap that was just oh man, I'm never going to use this service for a year. And luckily I got them both refunded. But that feels like the modern day internet equivalent of the walk of shame. I'm just yeah, I'm bad with finances. Can you help me, please? I just you're right. I should have remembered that I signed up for DDP yoga, but I forgot. And
oh no, Josh.
Here we are. That was the most expensive one, was the DDP yoga. I'm not proud of it, but but it's what happened. But I also got those canceled with no repercussions. So now I feel emboldened by it. I feel like I should sign up for more things.
Just cancel it right away.
Because there's now no repercussions.
Well, the ultimate Amazon hack is tons of times they have the subscribe and save perks for things you can buy.
Uh-huh.
So you can get like an extra 20% off your first subscribe and save order when you do a lot of things like pantry food adjacent things like light bulbs, paper towels, toilet paper, whatever. You can get the discount for signing up for subscribe and save. And as long as you give it a day or two until like it ships and arrives at your house, you just cancel the subscription and you still get the discount.
That's baller. I love
and
it.
I do it all over and over and over.
That's a good like sticking it to Bezos thing because I Amazon is a necessary evil of today's world. I feel like in some ways it's cool, in other ways it's a horrible nightmare hellscape. Especially with like the fact that we all got suckered into Amazon Prime, and then it just price keeps going up on it, and the things that they give you for free with it keep going down. Any way that you can stick it to the man, it's nice to do. I like to, they started that Amazon Day delivery crap.
I don't even know what it is. Like, what is the difference between?
So Amazon, they pick a random day. I don't know how they pick it, but they pick a random day and they call it your Amazon Day. And then when you order something, they default your shipping to arriving on that day, even if it is like 4 or 5 days later, where you could get free like 2-day shipping or free next day shipping.
Isn't this the thing that they're trying to do to keep extra trucks off the road?
Yeah, sure. That's what they say, but they're trying to save money. You know what I mean? So what I like to do, Toby, is I like to say, no, I don't want that Amazon Day shipping. I'm ordering 4 different things. You're going to send it in 4 separate boxes because it arrives on 4 different days, and it's going to be as inconvenient for you as possible, Jeff Bezos.
You're a bad person.
I am a bad person.
You're ruining way more lives with this than just ruining Jeff's.
No, here's what's happening. I'm ruining the environment, and I'm clogging up my personal city streets, and Jeff Bezos doesn't know I exist. Those are the things that are happening here.
Well, usually, like, a lot of people, I feel like, don't have the next generation when they say, like, I'm going to ruin the environment.
Yeah.
But you have your own next generation. And now you're just like, true. Who needs fresh air? Let's get these trucks running.
I do, like, all jokes aside, I do actually think about that a lot more now that I have a young daughter. And it is like, not to be very sobering on a funny podcast, but like there are certain things that like keep me up at night. I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm pretty sure like this will last through my lifetime, but will it through hers? Like, for example, things like our democracy. Just like I don't know if this duct tape is gonna hold this long. I hope that it does, but boy, if sometimes it feels like things really changed in the 4 years since she's been alive, and I don't know if I'd make the same decisions now as I did then about bringing life into the world. But things to worry about as a parent,
like the small tier, or not small tier, but like a smaller tier version of that. Like, we paid in this is old person talk right now.
Yeah.
We paid into social security.
Yeah.
Our entire life. For those not from America or the United States, whatever. Social security was basically you pay into this fund until you retire, and then you take money back out of Social Security. It's like a big pool of money for everybody. And it's like the perk of you retiring, and you help the next generation and everything else. Josh's and my generation will most likely not be getting Social Security, even though we've paid into it for our entire lives with working.
Yeah, and for sure. We're all screwed there.
That's like a mid-tier, huge financial change for our next generation. So like, I wonder what it would be like the hers to yours one, if there'd be like another big financial one like that or anything crazy like that.
Well, like hers to ours to hers will be stuff like, and it's already happening, right? Where it's like, okay, well now you have to rely on like your 401k, but everything's just so freaking expensive that you can't really afford to put money in your 401k. And then, you don't end up with a nest egg that you can retire on. You have to work until you die. Like that. That's what it is. It's like we're already.
I guess it'll be the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're already kind of there. And like, because I'm thinking now, just like, you look at like prices of anything and how much they've gone up and stuff, and how much like houses and stuff have gone up. That's another terrifying one I think about with her, of just like, wow, you're just probably not, unless there's like a giant collapse in the housing market, which fingers crossed. Um, it's just like you were priced out of houses before you were even born. That's a crazy thing to think about. Like,
You're never leaving, kid.
yeah, exactly. Just like, I hope you like it in the basement, because I guess that's probably where you're gonna live.
You gotta start saving up now for like the in-law suite, but it'll just be your kid's house.
Yeah, I totally. Yeah. It felt like we got into this house at the last possible second. Like we started, felt like we started house hunting, like to be in this area. Felt like we started house hunting and we found something and we got in basically like as the prices continued to go up, and then it like just passed our ability to afford anything in this general vicinity. So that's a crazy one. I don't know. Like, yeah, there's just lots of stuff like that. That's just like my anxiety about it for my life is very different than when I think about it in terms of like the longer term, like her entire life or her kids and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, we should put this stuff in the recycling bin probably. Yeah, okay,
just in case.
That's good. Yeah. When you're young, you feel invincible, right? You don't think about that stuff. It's like, yeah, it's whatever. It's all going to last forever. And then, yeah, you get to be my age and you have a kid and you're like, no, this is all very fragile. It's going to,
this is all too real.
Yeah, it's going to go away. In happier news, Toby, what's the best holiday?
My birthday.
It's not a holiday. Are you one of those? All right. Are you and I are not geographically aligned. We're not close to each other in the world. So like, I'm not around on your birthday. Do you have a big to do on your birthday every year? Is that a thing?
So since I turned 40 this year, and I lived to the great fish story of 2023.
Yeah, that's right.
But other than that one, usually not. I was joking around with Navigator about it the other day, where with my group of friends, there's only really like 5 or 6 of us, the ones that consistently go out all the time and hang out. And the most of a birthday party that any of us have at this point is basically like if we're at the bar on a Wednesday, if that person's birthday is adjacent to that Wednesday, we'll pretend it's their birthday and just say happy birthday and try to embarrass them at the bar.
Nice.
And that's pretty much the birthday celebration.
Which I think that's a reasonable amount to celebrate someone's birthday as an adult. There's this girl that I went to college with that, like, for some reason I'm still like following on social media and stuff. And just before we started recording here, she popped up on my Instagram earlier today. And
well, she probably does that if you follow her. Just remember that.
She probably does what?
She probably only popped up because you follow her.
I know, I should unfollow her. That's definitely a given. I should unfollow this person.
Yeah, because when you word it like that, when you say, "Oh, she just popped up on Instagram," normally I would say, "Oh, it's Facebook. It's weird." But Instagram, I'm pretty sure you have to follow people for them to show up. At least like that.
Not anymore. Like I definitely get a lot of. We'll talk about the algorithm here in a second. But I definitely get a lot of crap on Instagram that I'm not following just because the algorithm has decided that I should see it. But in this one, yes, I do follow her because, like, you know. Like when you first sign up for these things, you follow people you actually know. And then it, at least in this case, took a few years to realize like, oh, I hate this person. Oh, that's right. Okay. I actually just realized today in general that like, there's really no one that I care at this point in my life that I care about what their opinion is enough to like seek them out on social media. The whole system really kind of breaks down where you don't care what other people think. And that's where I decided that I'm at today. Just like, I just don't like, I don't need to log on and find out what anyone's thinking. Cause everyone who I did actually care what they're thinking is just also like not tweeting anymore. They're not using social media anymore either. But anyway, this girl, she posted, it was her birthday and she posted pictures and it was just like, again, I turned 36 this year. She'll be somewhere in that range, give or take a year.
Okay.
Her pictures were like, she clearly had gone out like partying, and the vibe was like she had the crown on, she had like the like champagne sash on that said it was her birthday. And then they also had like taken the party back home as well. You could tell like her house was done up real huge and a big banner that said it was her birthday. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, are you 8 years old? Like what? Like the Venn diagram of like things I can relate to a person on, the person who wears a crown to their birthday and a sash and me, there's just no overlap in those two circles.
Maybe you
I
should
just
try to wear a birthday party crown to your next birthday and see if it makes you like birthdays better or not.
I mean, I'm sure that it would make me like birthdays better, and I'm sure I would be like a happier person in general overall. That's just not who I am. I'm not a person who can stop thinking about myself and my own insecurities long enough to throw abandon to the wind and put on a crown and make everyone care about my birthday. That's just not. That's not who I am. And damn it, that's not who a 36-year-old should be, Toby.
That's
when,
fair.
when you're 36,
I suppose.
yeah. When you're 36, it's your own gratification for your own birthday. It's past. You've missed it. Like we're not doing that for you anymore. You know? I don't know. Did you have birthday parties as a kid? Was that a thing for you? Like I'm talking like not just like your family, but like invite friends over, have a big to do.
I don't remember having them at the house. I remember having them bowling a bunch of times. Like that was like the big thing for
Okay.
kids. I mean, like, it might still be the big thing for kids now. Hot on the tails of the Five Nights at Freddy love. I had many birthday parties at it was Showbiz Pizza for me, and they got bought out by Chuck E. Cheese, but same vibe. And one year we did it at this point they would be called like those trampoline parks where like you go and like jump in the foam. Back then it was just a gymnastics center.
Yep.
But I remember doing that too. And that was the fun one. So you did flips off the trampoline, fall in the ball, the big foam blocks you can't get out of, and all that kind of shit.
So like I grew up out in the country, and I don't know, like wasn't I guess like my parents is also probably I don't think really super into birthdays. I think I had like maybe 1 or 2 birthday parties where it was invite your friends. Like every year, like we would go out to eat for my birthday or something, like me and my parents or whatever. But like the big party, your friends are coming over thing, I think it was maybe once or twice, and never did anything like outside of the house like that I recall. But also, yeah, we were out in the country, so like we were probably pretty far away from anything like that.
That makes sense.
But this year, so my daughter is turning 4 this year, and really, it's like she is, in the first three birthdays, we've had family over for it, which has been like fine and reasonable, and it's okay, and like done a bunch of balloons and stuff because that's what she was very into and stuff as a kid, and like presents and all that stuff with family, cake and whatnot. This year is the first year where she's like very cognizant of the fact that she's having a birthday and very into the idea of it is my birthday and my birthday is coming up.
Okay.
And very into the idea of like friends coming to the birthday. So we're having a birthday party, like actually inviting people from outside the family for the first time. And this is what all of her friends are doing too. So like we've already been to one birthday party for like a friend from school for her, and there's another one coming up this weekend. So like it's happening. Like everybody's
it's becoming the cool thing now.
Yes, exactly. So I keep telling the wife that like, okay, so we're having a party at 4, and then we're not gonna have one at 5. That's just how this works. Where you don't get one every year.
You're gonna go back and forth. You're already bullying your poor child.
Not even back and forth. Listen, I'm the pushover dad. I'm gonna be the one who does the party every year. But what I'm saying right now, my hard line is you get one at 4, you get one at 8, and you get one at 16. That's what you get. You double it each time. Then you can have a big party at each of those things. I think those are good milestones, right? Like 4 now when you first realize what birthdays are. 8 once you're like right in the thick of childhood, right? Like that's the perfect, like I'm no longer a little kid and I'm becoming a bigger kid, like that 8. And then 16 is the one where it's like, hey, I'm an adult. I got my license. I'm heading out, doing my own thing. Like let's have one more, sweet 16, big hurrah.
Do you not think that after 4 in this year, that at 5, she's going to ask for a party again anyway?
Oh God, yes, yeah, no, totally. Like after this year, we're locked in, and we're doing them every year. I guarantee.
Okay, but no, it's like I guess I don't know the lower end of what the spectrum should be, but I feel like starting at like 6 through 18, I feel like has to be some sort of party, or at least like 6 to 12, 6 to 13. And at some point, she'll be like, I don't want to have parties anymore, but I want my friends to come over. And then
Yeah,
it'll turn into that. And then 16, she'll say, yeah, I want to go out with my friends. I just got my license. I don't really want to hang out with you guys.
probably.
And then
Yeah.
18, she'll be like, yeah, we're going out. I'm not even going to be home. I guess we can do dinner as long as we go early.
Now you're just
And
making
then,
me sad. Yeah.
and you'll regret saying, oh, only 5 and 10.
That's
or 4
true.
and
That's
10
true.
or whatever that was.
We're gonna be doing the Ramblecast in 20, whatever, 30, 38, whenever that will be, and I'll be like, you were right, Tobias. I should have given her more birthday parties. I don't know why in the scenario I'm suddenly older than you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But
Josh is going to put Cats in the Cradle on in the background on a loop.
exactly. Speaking of though of like things getting more expensive, so we're having like the people over to our house, which is like of course more reasonably priced. We are the big
Is it
thing.
though?
Well, monetarily, yes. My own sanity, no. It's much more
Okay.
expensive, for my own sanity. But we are like the big thing that we're doing because my daughter's very into it. Is we are having a face painter come
I
for
remember
like
you
an
saying, tell me a
hour.
while ago. I don't know if that was pre-show one day or during a show, but I remember her getting very upset after her first exciting face paint.
Oh
And you
yeah,
being like, it has to come off now.
yeah. Like that was, boy, that was a heartbreaking day because that was she. Yes, she loves face painting. Her very first big one. We of course, going to bed, you got to wipe it off. Like you can't go to sleep with like the black paint all over your face and it'll get all over your bed and your pillow and stuff. So I'm telling her we have to wipe it off, and she's just inconsolable. And it finally had to talk her through it, and she sobbed through it, but put on a strong face. It's been better since then. She's been much more reasonable about. I got my face painted. Okay, we do have to wipe it off, but I'll be able to get it painted again at some point in the future.
Yeah, so now she knows for sure that she
Then it
can get
happens
it again.
Yeah, 100%. So, which was very important actually. The first time when I had to wipe it off, I was telling her like, the next time we see face painting, like I will get it for you. Like I promise we will get to do it next time. So of course the next time we see it, it's at the zoo. I think I maybe told the story, and it's like $30 for face painting. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did I agree to this? But I agreed to it, so here we go. So yeah, now she's a little bit more reasonable. So yeah, we're doing the face painter. I think she'll be very excited about that. But if you look at like booking someplace or booking an activity for a birthday party, it is insanity how expensive it is. Like you talked about bowling. There is a bowling place near us that is like it's like an arcade / bowling alley. Um, and you can rent out. They basically have like a back room where you can rent the. It has like I don't know two bowling alleys or it has like 2 or 3 lanes in it. And to rent it, I'm just looking at the prices again to have the exact number here. But it is, let's see. Oh, they had the actual. Oh, these are not the exact same birthday parties. Here we go. This is what I was trying to find. So it is $480, and that's only for 8 to 12 guests. It's an additional $30 per guest. And with that money, you get like only 90 minutes of bowling, which like is like a party you're normally going to have like at least for, I would guess, 2 to 3 hours for kids this age.
Well, so like, but a game of bowling,
Yeah,
with 4 or 5 people, only usually takes like 20 to 30 minutes. Now, like, I know with like kids, you have to wrangle them and shit with adults. You have to make sure everyone's like paying attention, taking their turns.
yeah.
But I feel like 90 minutes is enough for 3 full games of bowling.
Okay, that might be. They also force you to buy $20 in arcade cards for each of the kids to go along with this. So yeah, basically like for a birthday party to have friends over, it is like minimum you're spending $500 to like get a place to do a thing. And that was on the cheaper end of a lot of stuff we looked at around here. Like we looked at one of the ones that was like you're talking about the like gymnastics, like go run around, do crazy stuff for a while. That was also super expensive. Like it's just everything is expensive. Because like that's not even like, you know, it's not even Christmas we're talking about. This is just a birthday. And that's
It
not
only
even
happens
like
once a year. Come on now.
that's not even that too. That the funny thing about that too is like I think she would very much enjoy something like that, right? Because her friends and stuff would be there. But it's like it's not even $480 that I'm spending on like a big present. It's just like this weird fleeting thing that like is mostly for her friends, not for her.
This would
'Cause,
get her
like,
into bowling, and then she'll have a new activity to do, and she could
oh, that's
become
good.
a bowler.
I'd be into it if my daughter turned into just like a weird bowling shark.
See, this is how you start them. This is
Yeah.
how she learns.
that dark world of bowling. Perfect.
Well, the reason I asked you about like, is it actually cheaper for you to do it at the house? So for most of my life as an adult, I never really had people over to my house because my old dog destroyed a shitload of the old one.
Yeah.
Mixed with just the anxiety of like, this is my house. I'm going to come here when I want calm. I don't want to be the
I feel
person that
that.
has to throw people out and all that kind of shit.
I feel that.
But as I've gotten older now, I've had people over to my house a couple times for like New Year's Eve or a day of football and shit like that. And it was crazy because the first time I did it, anytime I ever went to any of my other friends' houses for football to hang out when they made dinner and those kind of things, they always said, if you want to bring something, bring something. If not, it's no big deal. And I always just chipped in money. Like I've given my one friend probably hundreds of $20 bills at this point in my life. Like every time I went, I was like, at least a case of beer cost like $20 or so. I said, this at least covers something. I'm just giving you $20. So I never actually thought about how much money and time they spent to have people over at their house. But the first time I hosted New Year's Eve here, I had like 10 or 12 friends come over, and I probably overbought food, but for all the food and drinks and everything I got, I think it ended up costing me like $300 or $400.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that.
I can't believe my friends do this on a regular basis for everybody else.
It's crazy.
Like,
no, I don't think it will be that bad. So like we've scheduled the party not at a meal time. and it's you know, again, they're 4 years old, so like it's not like it's a long party. But yeah, we're gonna have you know, like snack type foods and stuff. So we will end up spending money on the snack stuff and on the, you know, all the decorations and fixins and stuff for sure. So it won't be cheap. It'll probably be cheaper than $480 or whatever.
yeah, I would assume so.
But
for
still,
little
like
people,
a lot, yeah. But yeah, it's just a thing. It's a thing. We'll see what happens as she ages. I think she, unfortunately too, my daughter is which I like this about her in every other aspect of her life until it comes to partying, but she's a very social butterfly, makes friends with everybody.
the anti-Josh.
She 100% in so many ways is she's very like me in some ways, but in lots of ways she's completely the opposite of me. She's the girl who stands in the front yard, and as people like run by or whatever, she'll be like, "Hey, hi, how's it going? Hi." Until they acknowledge her, and then she'll just chat. She loves just like running into people in the street and telling them like things about her life. Like, oh hey, what's up? I'm going to my mammal's house today. Oh, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm sure she'll continue to make lots of friends, and we'll continue to have want to have massive parties. But we'll see. Toby, she asked me I probably have talked at some point on a podcast about Santa Claus and whether we are going to keep up the large Santa lie or not, whether Santa is real. So I've already had a couple false starts on the Santa thing before, because last year I'm sure I told the story at some point on the podcast, but
what happens if she wakes up right now and sneaks in the office and hears whatever you're about to say?
I will check the camera to make sure that she doesn't wake up. This is important. Yeah, she has not moved from where I put her to bed. So like I think it was last year, yeah, around Christmas time. Like she's very inquisitive. So anytime she like learns a new fact, she's like constantly asking questions about it. So she like last year is wrapping her head around the concept of Santa Claus, and she's asking me a bunch of questions about him. And I kind of like at the point was like, well, I kind of want to lie to her. Like, I don't want to be the person who like just straight up lies to my kid. So, like, she was asking about Santa, and I was trying to phrase things in the way of just like, well, like some people believe, or like, well, the story is that Santa can do this, right? Like, I was trying to make it so it's like I'm not just saying like he's real and this is how he does it. um, but I thought at the time that she was like walking down the path of he's not real. So I leaned into it a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, like I think Santa's really more of a feeling that we have in our hearts, and he's like a really fun story to believe, and he's a really fun thing to imagine about. And then I realized very quickly from her face that that's not what she was saying. And she was like, but he, like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but essentially her retort was like, but he's real and he comes in our house and he brings us presents, right? So I had to backpedal at that point and be like, yep, yep, whatever you say, he is, yep, he is, he's real. So now this year I'm trying to feel her out again. It's already started. So we were swinging yesterday, and she was like, she was asking how Santa gets in the house, because like some people have chimneys and fireplaces and some people don't.
Just
watch
watch the Santa Claus with her. It's all explained in that
That's
movie.
true. It's all laid out. And then she suddenly drops. She was like, I've seen Santa. I said, oh, you have. So last year we went to see like an actual like real Santa Claus.
The real one.
Well, an official one. He was at the Children's Museum, right? So she saw him, and I thought that's who she was talking about. But what she was talking about was one like 2 years ago when she was very little. My dad dressed up like Santa and came to our house, and like held her and like walked around with her and stuff, and like very clearly he's not good at playing Santa. It was very obvious that it was my dad, and even at the time I thought she would know. So she was like, I've seen Santa, and I said, oh, you have? And she said, yeah. And she said, when I was a little baby. And I'm like, okay, yeah, where at? And she was like, at my house. And I'm like, yep, that's right, you did. Santa came to see you at your house. And she's like, yep, he sure did. she kept like having this very like accusatory like, yep, he came to my house, didn't he? So I think she was letting on that she knew that one was her grandpa. But then tonight, so we were been on the Santa topic. Tonight she wasn't doing what I asked her to do. She wasn't being a good listener, is what we call it when she's not doing what I'm asking her to do. And she's like, I don't know, 2 minutes deep in this activity that I've asked her not to do. And she stops and she looks up and she says, Dad, do you think I'm on Santa's naughty list?
So I realized that's when you say yes, unless you stop.
Yeah, I realized at that point that I could work this to my advantage. So I said, well, honey, I haven't spoken to him, but you're not putting your best foot forward tonight.
And this is the real reason that parents push the Santa agenda.
Yeah, it really, like, it all clicked for me then. I'm just like, oh, this is why everyone plays into it, because you get to make your child behave for like a month and a half.
So my 3 Santa adjacent stories. If you're done with,
I'm done. Yeah, let me hear them.
Okay. So when my niece was born and growing up, that was the first generation ish that I was thought about it, and I was like, she had an iPad or an iPhone or one of them, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, kids can just Google, is Santa real or not now?
Yeah.
And I was like, as soon as any kid like starts remotely getting wise to this whole game, it seems like too easily ruinable. So I just Googled it now to double check. And the search results are very mixed of like, he's real, or it's a real concept, or he's fake, or this is how you tell your kids that he's fake. And I was thinking about it, and like, of all things, Google could easily just set the search things. If someone searches for is Santa real, or if it's a kid's account searching for is Santa real or whatever, they could easily just force the first result to be yes, like for no reason whatsoever, to like not ruin it. So I'm gonna say that's pretty shitty at Google. So if I could rip off Google with Google Day Delivery, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
My second one is my one old coworker, the one that had the 2 kids that were super into like farming sim and doing like farming simulator leagues and all that shit. They
Yeah.
were both homeschooled, and not to put a lot of judgment on homeschooling, even though I do think it's extremely weird.
Uh-huh.
They believed Santa Claus was real until they were 14
Holy
because
crap.
him and his him and his wife were so hardcore into the like the nice parts of Christmas. Like Christmas is about giving money, like giving things to people who can't have things, like donating toys for tots or
That's nice.
Salvation Army, stuff like that. And they were so afraid that their kids would lose that point of Christmas that they lied to them until they were 14 to convince them that Santa was still real, to the point where the kids would still put letters out in the mailbox out front for Santa, and the wife would just run out at some point and take them out of the mailbox and hide them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he told me, he was like, "Oh, my boys still believe in Santa." I was like, "That's kind of cool," like because that was before I really knew him well. And I was like, "How old are they?" And at that point, he was like 12, 13, whatever age they were. And I was like, it's not my place to question what someone's doing with their kids. Like,
No, let's do it. Do it right now, Toby.
but I was like, this seems absurd to me.
Yeah.
Because with the homeschool thing, I know they did cyber learning, but that was really about it. So I guess if you're never in the situation where kids can ruin it for you of Santa is fake, you probably don't catch those vibes as easy as you would if you're just like in the house all day every day.
Right, because you figure it out. I feel like most kids probably figure it out by talking to the older kids, right? Like you're on the school bus or whatever. Like you're,
And they want to be dicks and ruin it, and then you go home
yeah,
upset that Santa was ruined. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure like every kid has that experience, or a lot of kids have that experience. But yeah, if you're just like home with your parents all day, and your parents are like, "This man comes into your house and he gives you presents and he keeps a naughty list, and you better be good." Like obviously you're gonna think it's real because your parents are telling it's real, and you believe them about everything.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you?
So
Why would this thing be different of all things?
yes, that one was always funny to me. And my final one, to go to the Graham that had the gun. She's very even tempered. It was very rare I ever made her mad or actually like saw her mad. The one year, which was probably the year that I learned Santa was fake, or maybe one after. Uh, the ages in my family between my cousins, my old stepbrother, who like our parents reseparated, so I don't know if he's still related or not. Between him, me, the two cousins, and my younger brother, there's like 5 years between us. So me and my older stepbrother figured out first that Santa was fake before the other three. So the one year at Christmas, my uncle always dresses up as Santa Claus because he's legit short, very chubby, has a very good looking Santa costume, and wears it every year. Like it's
Nice.
this thing they does for kids. He looks like a perfect Santa Claus. It's hilarious. Um, the one year that when we realized that it was fake and he came to bring presents for the kids, me and my stepbrother were like, "Oh, it's just Uncle Joe in a costume. This is fake." My gram lost her shit, grabbed both of us by the hair, pulled us in the bathroom, and screamed at us. And it
Oh,
was the
holy
only
crap.
time I've ever actually seen her mad. And she was like, I mean, like basically the vibe was like, "Don't you dare ruin it for them. Don't be little assholes," kind of thing. Like it was the only time I actually saw her pissed, and she still remembers that story as much as I do because it was very scarring for me as a young kid
Yeah, I
when
would imagine.
my
Yeah.
gram actually lost her shit on me.
It's such a weird thing because, like, I get her point there. Like, well, don't ruin it for the little kids, right? Like, okay, that's reasonable, I guess. But like, but also it's this weird like shared trauma that everyone just inflicts on children. Like, like especially now in like the modern times and with gentle parenting and all these, newfangled things where you're, supposed to say things a certain way and be a certain thing. Like the fact that we still have this shared lie that we tell kids and then eventually be like, "Ha, fooled you," is just such a strange. It's a strange common thing that everyone does. I don't know why anyone. I don't know why any kid believes parents after they find out that Santa's not real. I just don't.
Well, like I'm sure, like depending on how adjusted you are as a child, eventually you get over that lie and the vibes behind it. But like depending on like how you are and who you are, like that could, I feel like that could actually like truly like you'd never trust adults again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it might switch like flip the wrong switch in your brain, and like you'll just never trust anyone again.
Like I think I'm lucky, or I think I was lucky. Like I don't remember ever actually believing in Santa. Like I remember going along with things because it like still got me presents, right? Like I remember distinctly as a kid, like I was probably, I don't know, like probably 4 or 5, somewhere around there. I remember like still putting out like cookies and milk for Santa, but knowing full well that my parents like went through and took a bite out of it in the middle of the night, right? Like it was obvious like what the ruse was, but I still did it because it was like the thing to do. And I never had the big talk with my parents about like someone on the bus said Santa's not real, and then have to have that like heart to heart. But yeah, I could totally tell like if you were bought in, if you didn't realize, and then suddenly you had to bring it up with your parents, and they're like, actually, yeah, you're right, Santa's not real. That'd be traumatizing.
Well, like
So,
I feel like like my niece is very smart, like my sister is, and that kind of stuff. So my sister told me for a couple years, like whenever it got close to Christmas, I would always ask her on the sly, like, "Hey, are we still pretending it's real?
yeah,
Are we off this now? Like, what conversations am I having with her if she asks me questions?" And at some point, it got to the my sister's question to herself of, "Is she just saying she believes in Santa because she thinks she won't get presents if she says no?"
yeah, I totally think that's a thing that happens for sure.
Like that's probably like the middle tier of your last year of belief of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but if I say this is fake, do presents not come? Because at that point, you just say like, "Yeah, I believe in it," because you think the presents aren't going to come.
I think my daughter might also like already kind of be at that point because there was last year some of her questioning was along the lines of like, so this man just comes in our house in the middle of the night. Like it was like, but I don't know this person, and he just comes in. And you could tell at the time she was torn between that's a really weird concept, and also I want toys. um so yeah, like I'm sure everybody's like um just completely telling themselves like you gotta go with it. If you want that new GI Joe, you gotta go with it.
And that's why I always assumed that's why she did it. I think she confirmed it for me at some point, but I don't remember. Uh, whatever, I definitely told this story to you before, I think. Whatever, like the big cool present was that I wanted for Christmas every year, or at least a mix of them. My mom always wrote her name on some and
Yeah.
Santa's name on some. And I think it was to help ease me out of that transition of like either like, hey, look, you get presents from us too. You still like these things, or she just wanted me to know that like she busted her ass to be able to buy me a nice gift. Like not in
That's
like not in like the bad way. She
no,
wanted me to
totally.
be like
That's always my opinion too. It's like, yeah, I'm the one who listened to you when you liked things, and I'm the one who paid money for this. Like, no, you're gonna know that we bought it. Not Santa didn't have shit to do with this good present. Yeah, here's what you do. You buy a really shitty present that you know they're gonna hate, and you put Santa's name on it. You'd be like, boy, that guy fucking sucks, huh? Oh, okay.
we should let's not believe in him.
Yeah. What a bogus idiot. Why did he bring you a wooden train? That's stupid. Anyway,
But
here's the cool
especially
presents.
but especially like um I don't I mean, I'm sure it still happens. I remember hearing it recently, like when like Tickle Me Elmo was a big thing, and people would riot and get in fistfights for toys, or like Cabbage Patch Kids back in the day. Like if I was one of those things where like my kid wanted something that I had to like wait outside for 12 hours for, and someone
Yeah.
like peed on my leg waiting in line for me to do it, I would 100% want credit for that.
You want them to
I,
know.
I, I wouldn't be
Exactly.
like Magic Man warped us into your house. I'd be like, no, I stood in the freaking parking lot at 1 o'clock and some drunk peed on my leg, and then
Hell yeah. Totally. Yeah. I just realized in saying wooden train, one of the big things I think that made me realize Santa wasn't real when I was very young was that all of the depictions of Santa and his workshop that the elves were working on was like they were making like 1940s toys, right? It's like they're making wooden trains, and they're making like I don't know, tops, and like just real shitty stuff. But then like the stuff that I wanted was like things I'm seeing advertised
Video
on
games
TV and
and
video games. Like, I know Santa ain't making no fucking video games, right? Like, I know this came from Japan. Like, I get it. Like, Santa doesn't have an R&D team up there working on new Genesis games. That's not how this works.
I guess maybe I always thought he was just a delivery service.
Okay, no,
like I don't know how much I don't remember anymore. It's fucking 35 years ago for me. But like, I feel like I always took him more as the delivery service than I did as the creator of Nintendo games. So I feel like I would have known like Nintendo is Nintendo and not like.
That's a big part of the lore, though, is like Santa makes it, the elves make it in the workshop, right? And then they work all year long making the toys, and then he delivers them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wish I remembered that part of it now.
If you know just a little bit about global economics, the whole Santa thing breaks down. Yeah, that's a fun thing to tackle. Last topic, Toby, for our Ramblecast today. I mentioned the algorithm. We could talk about the algorithm. Just want to circle back around to that because I freaking hate the algorithm. I was thinking about that today. Because I was looking at Reddit, and Reddit is, I don't know. It's like it's a place that you can go. It's fine. I met you on Reddit, so I guess Reddit has some good parts. It has some bad parts.
I guess for everybody, if you ever want to blame all the things that Josh and I have ever done in our lives together, you can distinctly point to Reddit and blame that, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah, if people don't know, just I guess a quick little backstory. Reddit has a wrestling subreddit, and
it always goes back to wrestling somehow.
It does always go back to wrestling. They were starting up a podcast, and I was very interested in being a member of a podcast because I was very interested. I loved podcasting. I wanted to do one. So there were auditions that had gotten posted. Basically, you had already nosed your way in. You were already involved, of course, as you were already a member.
So
and then
I think at least my part, the way that I got in was one of the other people said we want to do a podcast. So as part of that, I was already doing a different one. And I made the comment of like, hey, if you guys need someone to edit or put one together, back in the day when like it was actually a weird thing that people didn't.
Yeah, it was new to people
all the time. Yeah. I had enough of the tools to be like, hey, this is kind of what I do. Like I can help you guys with this stuff and all that stuff. So basically, like the other three of us, not counting Josh, all kind of like forced ourselves into it together. And then somehow it was like they asked for someone to do. I feel like you did a trial or a tryout.
I did. Yeah. So was I the only one who came via that process? I guess I was. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was. I think it was Rocky's idea. Paul was like the big tech guy and like knows entirely too much about wrestling. So those two just found each other. I said I knew how to put the stuff together too. So like I was.
So then I was the talent that got scouted, I guess. So yeah, there was just like an open call on Reddit. There's like, hey, we're doing a podcast. Send in a submission, and if we like you, like we'll bring you on or whatever. For I can't remember if it was like we'll bring you on, or if it was like we'll bring you on and try you out. But I sent in a submission. I distinctly remember I sent in a one-man rambling recording about Cody Rhodes. that was my big story that I did. And I sent it in, and then you guys reached out to me, and then we all awkwardly started podcasting together, not knowing each other. And then we became the best of friends.
We became the best of friends as Josh and I slowly turned on everybody else and just did their own thing.
There's still one of my best claim to fame still is you can still dig up on the wiki of that subreddit. There's like a drama entry specifically about our podcast and like the stuff that went down around the podcast and the interpersonal drama and stuff. And that's hilarious and ridiculous. But anyway, so we met on Reddit. There's some you can find community on Reddit, I guess I'll say. You can find actual people, which is nice. But
wait, real quick. Yeah. So I was trying to find the thread.
Where I
when we found you.
Oh my
I
god.
can't find that. I found the host guy three weeks into the 3 weeks into the podcast. He was like, "We're 3 weeks in, looking for feedback." So I'm looking through like the jokes and how we acted and all like the
I
random
don't
horseshit.
want to. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
So the one
I'm
name I
already
definitely
cringing.
remember is DJ Starion. Was like a friend adjacent of all of ours from the podcast stuff.
Oh right, yeah.
His first number one most upvoted comment is needs more Mr. Excitement and Toby shutting the fuck up.
Weren't you Mr. Excitement though?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
the fake John Lauren Nice voice all the
Right,
time.
I thought you did. Yeah.
So it's a lot of there's a lot of pro you all ramble too much, and there's a lot of con you all ramble too much. And someone was like, "You guys need to tone back the friendly fighting." And someone was like, "It's not really friendly.
It's not friendly." Yeah, no, like from the very beginning. And maybe it was like a jockeying for position type thing or something. But I was like,
Josh was always
like,
a nice, quiet one.
Yeah. Like I feel like I always fell into the role of like the young kid who didn't really know what was happening. And then everyone was fighting around me. But then there was always fighting. No matter what, there was always fighting. And it came out. I'm sure the podcasts were terrible. I'm sure it came out as like barbs getting thrown for no reason constantly. But it was dramatic for sure.
Someone said what happened to the podcast at some point, and then Steve was his name. Steve was like, in short, one of the casters became an overbearing twat.
He's not talking about you though. He's talking about the
Paul.
other one. Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, that's the short version. What's the long version? And then he was like, Toby, Josh, and I wanted it to be fun, and Paul did not.
I don't remember what the. I think our negatives against Paul were over a little oversold. Like I'm sure he probably wanted us to just be professional, and we were just the raging kids in the back of the car in like the just like drive through lane, just screaming at the top of our lungs. I'm sure.
Yeah,
because he
meant better than I think he came off. And I even met him at a wrestling show once.
And I forgot. Yeah.
I mean, obviously at that point, like nothing's gonna happen anyway. But it's just like weird and awkward. Like, oh yeah, you are a human, and you're just like chilling and trying to live your life.
I talked to him a little bit again because I was like the normal one who was just like not as mean to everyone. But I talked to him a little bit after like the show had ended a bunch, and dude got like very into like the production of wrestling. Like he started like working some indie show or something, and like started to get into like even putting matches together and weird stuff like that. So he, like, to his credit, he started applying his trade more directly in line with wrestling, which I think was something that he really wanted to do. So that's cool. But from a tech standpoint, stuff he was doing was actually cool, way ahead of its time. Like we were doing like live streams way before like that was a thing, way before there were like just Twitch streams that you could spin up in an instant. Like it was like these weird custom live streams that we were doing that just, I don't know, felt very neat and very cool to do. But just a lot of personalities that didn't mesh on that show.
So I found the thread. I don't see.
I may have like messaged it to you or something too.
Okay, yeah, so it's not in here. And I don't even see how I volunteered myself other than being supportive of somebody who is like, I have a thick Indian accent. No one wants to hear me.
I think did we end up talking to that person? I think we maybe.
I don't know. It might have been.
That sounds familiar.
I can't tell you his name anymore. But he might have been the one that I always play fought with too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It was a good time for the short-lived little podcast.
So the thread, the podcast audition thread. This is the last show I should talk about ourselves, I guess, or maybe it's interesting. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. I don't know.
Tuesday, December 6th, 2011 was when Steve posted the thing of we want to make a podcast. So I've probably known you since like early 2012. I guess would be my best guess. At this point.
I remember. Yeah, I guess because I remember I sent that audition in when I was on Christmas break. Like it was like, I think it was my freshman year of college, maybe. Would that have been, no, it would have been my 2011, would have been freshman year, I guess. Yeah, freshman or sophomore year. One of those. Anyway, time's hard. No. It would have been. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was on a Christmas break. I remember I was like at my parents' house, during the holidays when I did that. So yeah, it would have been probably beginning of 2012.
So there you go. I've known you for
Yeah.
like 11 years. Coming up on 11 years.
Feels like so much longer.
It does.
And then so then that led us to other podcasting, but like what was the impetus of the because of course the thing that kind of led us to tokusatsu here and led us to watching Kamen Rider was watching Power Rangers. We did that first, and that was kind of like where some of the people that are listening now know us from. I don't remember what started Power Rangers though for us.
So I know. So after the wrestling thing stopped, you, Steve, and I we watched a movie together like once a month, and we watched like basically like the wrestling themed movies and talked over them the whole time, and did the Mystery Science Theater commentary that way. And at some point, you and I must have talked more and got tired of Steve. And then it was like, well, what can we do? And then somehow Power Rangers came up. But I have no idea how to actually point out how Power Rangers came up.
Yeah, I don't remember. Because like, I don't think at the time I was like massively into Power Rangers. I don't know that you were either. It must have just been like we were talking about nostalgia stuff.
A funny childhood thing.
Yeah.
But Josh, if nothing else, we are on TV tropes.
Are we really?
Yeah, like I mean, I would have told you this like 10 years ago at this point.
I forgot, apparently.
But yeah, we're 100% on TV tropes as a subject.
What is the subject? Is it overanalyzed?
Yeah,
or is it okay? That's fun.
Because there was. It's gonna be such a hard thing to find. I feel like
that's okay. That's all right. That's interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, wait, I'm gonna find it. Basically, like it was something tied to. There was a second YouTube channel that did like serious reviews of Power Ranger stuff.
Right.
Oh, okay. So we are under the trivia. We are still under the trivia for Power Rangers. It has Just for Fun, Linkara's semi-serious analysis series, History of Power Rangers, and then a subnote, and the even less serious Overanalyzed series by Girls Heart Geeks on YouTube, which was the channel name at the time.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was cool because I was like, we were officially tied to Power Rangers in a way that if people go on TV tropes and look it up, it's there.
I remember that now. I remember that line now that you're reading it to me. That's awesome. It's such a weird thing explaining to people like our internet lineage, because like it's not like that was like massively popular, but like enough that like people knew it and people, it had followers and stuff. And I try to like explain that to people like I don't think my wife really understood until like someone who had been listening to you and I for years in various things was like sitting in my living room because they were coming through town and we're like, oh yeah, can stop by and like we can meet. That's cool. That was maybe probably the first time where she was just like, oh, people actually do know who you are. Like there's a small group of
this
people.
Is actually a thing.
Yeah. such a weird thing to be like, F list internet known people. Like there's a group of like 20 some people who know who we are. That's weird. But yeah, that's where we originated from. The thing that I was gonna say about Reddit.
How do you remember this now? I swerved you so hard for the past 20 minutes.
I have notes, Toby. I'm prepared.
Oh, okay.
I write down things that annoy me over the course of the months, and then I compile them all into things I want to yell at Toby about during the Ramblecast.
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah. So Reddit has gotten much worse lately because I used to use an app called Apollo, which was like a third-party app that was awesome. Reddit like blocked that. It went away. Now you have to use the official Reddit app, and the official Reddit app does the stupid, horrible algorithm thing like Instagram does and like all other social media does, where if you like visit a subreddit, they decide that you like it, and then they start showing you more posts from that subreddit, even if you're not subscribed to it, and even if you've never like, uploaded it or anything like that. So the one that Reddit has decided lately that I'm very into is concrete.
Ew.
Like just people like asking questions about concrete. Like, oh man, should this pool have cracked already? Should I be worried? Should I have them come back and re-pour? Is this too high? And it shows me constantly. It shows me posts from the concrete subreddit constantly. And the algorithm is so dumb because the first time I saw a concrete post, I clicked on it because I'm like, that's kind of weird. Let's learn about concrete. And I read a few comments and I thought, that was stupid. I'll never think about this again. And then Reddit decided from that moment on that, oh, you must love concrete. It's so good at showing you like more of things you've already seen, but horrible at showing you things that I'll actually like. And I don't know how to teach it. So now, like, if I see a concrete thing on Reddit, I'll scroll by really fast for fear that it like will think that I like it.
It's gonna soak it in again.
Exactly. This is very similar to the fact that Facebook at some point learned or thought that it learned that I was a Disney adult and that I really liked like Walt Disney parks specifically. And I'm not in any of these like Disney park fan groups, but it was started showing me posts from groups where people talk about going to Disney parks. Like it was that desperate to fill up my feed with stuff that it would show me, be like, hey, like the line's really short for the fucking Star Wars exhibit. Like what is happening? What's going on? So the algorithm is terrible.
Perfect.
Anyway, that's my rant. And I think that's a Ramblecast. That's a little bit of a long one there. That's okay.
The people are here for, in theory.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, if they're not, then I'm sorry to have wasted an hour of your life. But once again,
it's funny because that's funny because you say that, but like if they didn't like the first 10 minutes, they never made it to the last of the 70 that we talked to hear you say you're sorry for this. So really, you should apologize. We should apologize in the first like 2.
That's true,
because now it's too late.
I should start every podcast with a profuse apology. I'm sorry that you're here, and I'm sorry for what's about to transpire.
Yeah, that seems much nicer.
Yeah, I think that's a good intro from now on. But yeah, if you do like this and you want more of it, we do Ramblecasts over on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/thecommentwriters. And we do this and Watch and React series, which is kind of the Mystery Science Theater thing we mentioned earlier, where you get to see the show. You get to hear us talking about the show and joking about it as we watch it together. And honestly, they're a load of fun. I really, really enjoy doing those. We're working our way through Xaid right now. So for just $3 a month on the Patreon, patreon.com/thecommentwriters, you too can be a part of that. Signing up right now means that you get our first 4 Ramblecast episodes. You get all of our Black Sun Watch and React and all of our Xaid Watch and React up to the current episode we're on, which is 2022, I think, is what the one we're posting today. So lots and lots of content. Best bargain in Tokusatsu. So once again, patreon.com/thecommentwriters for that. And of course, we do have an email address. We didn't do emails for this episode because it's a Ramblecast, but our regular podcast, we'd love for you to send us emails into that with your thoughts or with, I don't know,
hopes and
dreams, or when you told your kid that Santa wasn't real, anything along those lines. Send those over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. That is cast@commonwritersucks.com. All right. Toby, where can the people find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's @LifeOfTobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
Right on. I am Twitter, Tumblr, and Threads @PrettyDeeceJosh. Those are probably the 3 most likely places to find me. And of course, subscribe on the YouTube channel. You might be watching this there right now. It's youtube.com/PrettyDeece. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us for the Ramblecast. Once again, check out the Patreon, or just come back here next week for discussion of the continuing saga of Kamen Rider Gotchard. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.